the one money rule you follow that people think is crazy?
Invest aggressively. So you read the richest man in Babylon says pay yourself at least 10%. I should pay myself 20%. And for me, I was like, you know what? I need to write a check every single month for my future.
What's one money habit that makes a bigger difference than people think when trying to build wealth?
I think planning is really, really important. So having goals in mind so that you know that we are planning towards something and it's not just loose. I think that habit is really, really intentional. I think also, just to add to that, the discipline to not change course.
If you wanted to double your net worth in the next 12 months, what would you do?
Decide what type of life you want. Because a lot of people just, they're suffering, but really and truly, they don't really want the life they say they want profitable and for real. And they have to accept that it will come with a sacrifice. There's a sacrifice to be made in order to get yourself out of that situation. Have a heavy focus on increasing what comes in, because there's only so much you can cut, but there's infinite opportunity to earn. If it was me.
Hey people, today we're at the Birmingham Black Business Show where some of the top money experts, entrepreneurs and professionals have come together. I'll be asking them straight out questions around money, building your business and building wealth to get advice that you can actually use. Let's see what they had to say. Cool, we're here actually, you know what, this was interesting because they're doing it with somebody that we've had on the channel before. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. So I'm Emmanuel Jones, call myself Money Saving Parent.
Okay, cool. So Emmanuel, for the people that don't know, what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm a wealth protection advisor. Fancy term, but all that means is I use the right insurance policies to look after your business, your family, and your household in the event the unthinkable was to happen.
Yeah. So, okay, obviously you work in the financial services and I want to know from you, when did you start taking money seriously for yourself?
I've always been a bit money conscious from a young age. One thing my parents used to say to me is save some money. They didn't tell me how to do it, but they said save some money. I think when I finished uni, got a job, started earning some money, I was like, you know what, I need to be able to manage this in a correct way. If not, it's going to backfire. So I would say probably early 20s, that's when I started straight and early serious.
Yeah. And what's the one money rule you follow that people think is crazy?
Invest aggressively. So what I tend to do is pay myself first, the old cliche. So you read the richest man in Babylon says pay yourself at least 10%. I try to pay myself 20%. And if I can, at least invest 20% of my earnings into a stocks and shares I saw every month.
I like that, man. 10% instead of 20%. That's a very interesting thing. And what made you want to be that aggressive?
Because if you've watched our podcast, I don't want to have to rely on the government for the state pension or my workplace pension this time to retire. Because I want to make sure that I have power in my own hands. I'm not in the hands of someone else.
Okay, so it's all about empowering yourself and making sure, like you say, that you don't want to have a reliance on somebody, which I think it gives the element of independence, right? And I think in this world, that's where we need to get to. We need to want to know, it doesn't matter what age or what,
As well, there's a video on YouTube where for me, it was so powerful. I think that really shifted the dial in my brain. And it was this woman, she would go to this was back in, I think, the early 90s or early 2000s. She would go to the bank every single month and deposit a check. I said, this is going towards my future. And she'd done that for about 2 years. But at the end of the 2 years, she had a large lump sum of money in that account. And for me, I was like, you know what? I need to write a check every single month for my future. So by me investing every single month aggressively, that's going to go towards whether it be my grandchildren, my children get older, or distributing that peace of mind I need financially for when I'm older. Delayed gratification.
Yeah. What's the money trap that you feel like people, fall into that they should look to avoid yourself?
Buy now, pay later. Because it's instant gratification at its finest. And if you fail to keep all those payments, it will leave a stain on your credit file, which you don't want. As you get older, you realize protects your credit score like your life depends on it. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a difficult one for you. If someone had no savings and they wanted to grow their net worth to 100K step by step, what steps would they need to take to get them there?
Okay. I would say learn a high income skill. The good thing is we're in a day and age of, say, Google, social media, ChatGPT. I would ask ChatGPT, what are the 10 most high-performing job roles whereby I don't need, say, a university degree? Because that's what it is. We're trying to get your money to 100K. Do you really have the time to go and learn a 3-year course or then I'll do a 4th-year top-up for your master's? No, we don't. What I will do, all that information is ChatGPT. I'll learn a trade or a skill, whether it be plastering, whether it be becoming a plumber. Try and get into, say, financial service like I did. What happened to use a degree? So I'll become an insurance broker, for example, and leverage Because we all know some people influence, whether you believe it or not. And I'm a firm believer about the degrees of separation. So what I mean by that is, for example, if say I need to get access to, let's say, Leonard Black Business Show. I know I've got a friend called Melina who's part of the accounting team. I know her. So I can ask, could you put me in a good word whereby I can maybe sit down and have a conversation? Does that make sense? So I need to find someone in a field that I want to get access to and see if there's a way that can perhaps, I don't want to say put me on, but give me direction. Does that make sense? I will then see how can I increase my money. I won't leave it in a bank account, so to speak. I'll put it into a stepped in shares ISA, as I mentioned before, because if you use, for example, SAVVYFREE, you can Google the rate of returns and you see it rates anything between 8 to 10% on average. That's how to borrow my money. What else do I do on that as well? I'll look at things maybe in the property space where I could flip that as well, but that would be kind of like the angle, so to speak.
And if someone was feeling financially stuck today, which, you know, right now, cost of living crisis is very tough for a lot of people, what would be your message to them?
There's a saying again that I saw it. It's a meme on Instagram, but I live by it. It says, tough times never last, only tough people last. What was the other question again, sir?
What would be your message to them if they're feeling stuck financially at the moment?
Okay. No 2 days ever the same. Tomorrow is a new day. The fact that you are breathing, you're alive, you can still be able to go out and achieve your goals. And look at people, go on LinkedIn, look at people that you perceive that are doing well. Let's ask for 5 minutes of their time. We live in a generation whereby people love to talk about themselves. So if you can actually unearth some gems when I'm talking about themselves and help uplift you, watch podcasts as well. And there's so much information on Savvy Wallet, for example. There's other podcasts you go on to. So I feel like we're in a day and age whereby you don't need to bury your hand in the sand. There's lots of information out there. Search for that information and it will uplift you.
Amazing. Thank you, bro. Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot.
One of the things I love about going to events is how they give you a fresh perspective. You step into a room and suddenly you're surrounded by ideas, people, and opportunities you didn't even know you needed. That's exactly what's happening at UK Black Business Week and Show in London between the 13th and 18th of October 2025. This isn't just another conference, it's a celebration of next level talent and breakthrough thinking. Picture this, sessions covering tech, finance, law, media, culture, and sport. 70 plus speakers on stage, 100 plus black owned brands to discover, and thousands of attendees buzzing with energy. You'll hear from trailblazers like Karen Blackett, Daniel Ashville, Amani Simpson, Jordan Mitchell, and Mike Williams. And on the main stage on Saturday, Melissa Holbrook Aposity, celebrated fashion stylist and creative director, and Vanessa Kingori OBE, one of the UK's most influential business leaders and now a senior executive at Google, they'll be sharing the lessons, strategies, and stories that have shaped their extraordinary journeys. And because I've been to the Black Business Show twice, I know how transformative it can be. So I've partnered with UK Black Business Week and Show to give my community 100 free tickets, which you can use to get complimentary access to the Black Woman Business Talks and the Black Men Business Talks. Use the code SAVVYFREE at checkout to claim yours, but don't wait, they'll go fast. For all other events happening throughout the week, you can still use my code UKBB15 for 15% off tickets.
Okay, so what do you do in business?
Wow, I do quite a lot of things. I say I can't just about it. Can't say one thing. I do multiple things. So I've got a strategic advisory firm called TIC Services. It's global. So I've got partners in like Ghana, Nigeria, Atlanta. We do things from buying businesses, business acquisitions, to training, to government contracts. So it's quite vast. That's 6 services. Also do FinOps squads. So that's my baby, my little baby. That's fractional CFO services. So SMEs basically. So I come in, help with their cash flow forecasting, budgeting, planning, management accounts, business analysis, etc. I offer programs to business owners. So sometimes if they don't want me to come in on a retainer, offer a program, and over like 90 days, I do sort of a deep dive into their business. So the program, which I call the 4L program, learn, so do an audit, and then leads, once I understand what needs to happen, leverage, and then leap.
Okay, so that's what I do. I mean, and how long have you been doing that for?
Wow, for years. So I've been a management accountant for like 20 years. Pivoted out of corporate finance. So worked in the likes of MasterCard, HSBC. Started it actually on the advent of COVID. So 2020 was when I started to think, okay, how do I pivot out of freelance into a founder? Effectively, say all the time. Say
amazing. So we're gonna get a lot of money tips from you today. So what's a money tip that you made in your 20s or 30s that paid off massively later for you?
Okay. Money tip, I would say. So I managed to sort of say, initially it was like 10% in terms of my earnings and put it away into savings. Gradually that's changed because I realized savings can only do one thing. So in my 20s and 30s, I didn't quite know what you could do with your money. That's obviously now changed into investments. So savings, investments, and now, going from there. So yeah.
We talk a little bit more about investments. Yeah. Okay. So what made you want to go into investments and how do you kind of invest yourself?
Cool. So what made me go into investments is that I know I can grow my money whilst I'm sleeping. That's the whole purpose of investing. So different investments I've gone into. I've done angel investing. So I've invested into business, my own personal wealth. So yeah, about 6 businesses. No, I haven't gone wild, but I've strategically chosen those businesses because they've either related through a passion or I could actually add value myself. So one company, I'll shout them out actually, is UONE. Their fintech business. I put some money in there and I then back that investment saying that I'm going to come in as a fractional CFO to do your financial modeling, planning. That business is about to launch in the US actually next month. So we've got a commercial contract with MasterCards where we can now launch their virtual card program and their lending facilities for small businesses. So that's one. Cryptocurrency and stocks. So that is something actually I've always been a little bit hesitant about, but I've gone away to get taught. So you guys might know a guy called Devodon.
Yes.
So it's Devodon. So shout out to Devodon and Stock Pickers Academy. Took his course. Thought, okay, cool. I understand it. Like I realized that I thought I had to be like a day trader effectively. But I realized with my investments, I invest basically long term. So I look at and the stocks I've learned from his course to sort of invest in the long term using some of my investments or my investment pool or pot into stocks. So stocks.
Amazing.
Likewise with crypto as well. I do crypto baskets. It's so
What is a crypto basket? If you
so crypto basket is a little bit like it's where they clump together a couple of crypto coins or currencies. So instead of just investing in like Bitcoin, just one thing, they invest in a pool of 10. So they basically rank the best 10, say, crypto coins. You invest in that, and effectively it grows with regards to how it hedges against the market, basically. Okay. So that's another thing that I invest in as well.
amazing.
Property, a little bit in property as well. So got into property a little bit. Again, not big, but I'm working towards sort of building out a bigger portfolio for myself.
Amazing. You're very, very well diversified. If people wanted to get into, let's say startup investing, which not a lot of people get into, what would your advice be, like, given like your experience in startup investing?
To be honest, startup investing is quite tricky. So I would say crowdfunding is probably the best thing to start going into. So crowdfunding is basically where there's something called seed. I forgot their name of the thing, but it's where they have an investment, but you invest like a small piece into the wider investment pool. So that's probably a good way to start testing yourself. But I think one of the main things is developing a thesis, a hypothesis of, okay, what type of business do I want to go into and why? And then how much investment do I want to go into it? So you don't want to go crazy. You don't want to say, I want to put in, say, 50 grand. If I even have 50 grand saved, I want to stage that investment over time. So I'll go in small and then see how the business performs. I tend to work with businesses I understand so that on worst case, I can come in and get my hands dirty.
Okay.
So that's how I tend to invest. So I invest not only with just a passion, but also with the skill set that I feel that I can add value to the founder. So I think with angel investing, what you have to realize, it's very risky because those ventures might not work out. So you need to understand the culture, do some due diligence, a lot of due diligence to go deep, to understand what they're heading, the team, the founder. But I can help you. I've learned, I've got the Like I've gone in with passion initially, and I put money in, and that company's gone down. So now I realize that I'm a little bit more wise and do my due diligence on the business before I put my money in. So yeah.
And what do you think it was about those businesses that like burnt you in a way, or what was the thing? What was the mistakes that those companies?
So one of them is a Nigerian business, and so I'm from Nigeria. So I thought, oh yeah, and then it was microfinance, so a microfinance business. I had a good model. I saw it. It was like basically where people can lend and back, basically guarantor lending. So I went in thinking, oh yes, it could take off because I thought it was a market and opportunity and space and time. But unfortunately, I didn't really understand sort of the whole business model that I went into it. And it was more of a passion thing from being Nigerians.
That's the thing. What's one money habit that makes a bigger difference than people think we're trying to build wealth?
I think planning is really, really important. So having goals in mind, so that you know that we are planning towards something and it's not just loose. I think that habit is really, really intentional. I think also, just to add to that, the discipline to not change course. You can from time to time, but I think it's all about disciplines. That's really, really important.
Okay, amazing. So obviously, as a CFO, you work with a lot of companies. I'm sure you've worked with companies where you're helping them to transform their finances. But I want to ask a tip around helping people transform their finances. If somebody wanted to transform their finances within the next 30 days, what would you say to them? It doesn't have to be one tip, it can be multiple.
Okay, cool. So again, I'll go back to plan. So what are your goals? What do you want to achieve in those 30 days? Then also understand what's coming in. So what's the money coming in and what's going out? So start understanding sort of your ins and outs. Then, if you're thinking around from a personal point of view, I would definitely say, if needed, get support. If needed. So depending on where your appetite is and what you know you don't, some advice can help you unlock opportunities. I give you an example. So going into new environments had helped me to see the level of success I can operate at. So I remember going to Dubai. I've been in a room with 6-figure, 7-figure entrepreneurs, and that changed the way I thought about money. So it really expanded my limiting beliefs that I had on myself.
It's amazing. And that's the thing about limiting the beliefs, right? Like you say, it can like really shatter, you can really change your perception by being in places where people have built and done more than, you. Talking about doing more than you, right? Let's say somebody wants to get to 0 to 100K net worth, right? In any time frame, what would you say is the steps that they need to do to get them onto the right path to do that?
Okay, cool. Definitely come up with a business idea and then test that business idea straight away. So once you've got the business idea, try and get a crowd or audience to say, okay, is that viable? Once you have got that audience and crowds into knowing actually that thing works, then start monetizing it. See if you could put a value, some sort of price to it. It might not be the actual price that you want to charge in the end, but put a price to it so that it can actually say, okay, yes, I made money on this. Now, depending on the feedback that you receive from that, that's where you can sort of tweak, change, and look to see you can scale on that opportunity sort of that you're working on. So yeah. And so 100K specifically?
Their net worth, they usually say once you get there, that's really hard. And then things become slightly easier after that.
It does. So when you get up to 100K, that's roughly about 10K a month. Once you hit about that 10K a month, you obviously have to be wary of that VAT, because VAT is a threshold of over 80K. That's when you know you've actually got quite a viable business and you know that actually you can probably live off of it. Like you don't need much more, but if you want to start scaling, that's when you have to start thinking about processes, systems, teams to add to what you're doing to help you sort of move forward a lot further.
Amazing. Thank you, Leonard, for all the great tips. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, so what do you do for business?
I help people leave anywhere from 6 to 8 figures in inheritance tax-free.
Amazing. So can you explain that a bit more and break down how you actually help people do that?
Nice and easy. So I do that through insurances. So life insurance, also help people protect their income, their health, wealth, estate planning, wills, trusts, you name it.
And how long have you been doing that for?
Coming up to 3 years now.
Amazing. And what would you say has been some of the surprises that you found in doing that for the last 3 years?
Do you know what? When I first started, I always used to think that, oh, do you know what? It's guaranteed any person that's a parent will 100% take this out, until I started talking to parents that would say, no, they can't be bothered to leave money for their kid.
Seriously, they said they can't be bothered. Yeah, what was their reason for saying that?
They just didn't care, like, because initially when I first started, and I'll talk to like single people that didn't have any like dependents, and they would say, oh, I don't want to take out life insurance. I used to be like, yeah, it's because they ain't got kids, but don't worry, parents, 100%. And then I started talking to parents that even £5 a month, they'll say, nah.
That is crazy. That is absolutely insane. Parents, hopefully we are leaving some kind of legacy behind for our kids. And if people do want to leave a legacy, how do they go about doing that?
First of all, book a consultation with IO Noble. You can find that on my Instagram, but it's very straightforward. It's so simple. It's easier than any other subscription that you have, because all you have to do is decide how much you want to leave to your loved ones, who you want to receive the money, how much you're willing to spend on a monthly basis. It's that simple. It's the only thing you can pick the price.
And when did you yourself start taking money seriously? When was that like aha moment for yourself?
Since I was born. Now,
What do you mean since you were born?
I was shouting to, as in since secondary school. So like, okay, from quite early, I didn't really get a lot of pocket money from my mum. So I had to like sell stuff in school to generally buy like the Air Forces, PlayStations, fund my ability to go out. Like, it was from early. So I've always taken money seriously.
Okay, so from that time where you feel like you wasn't getting money, you went out to go make yourself money. So, okay, let's talk about the people now that are struggling financially, right? Or somebody that's living paycheck to paycheck. What would you say their first step should be to get themselves out of that hole?
First step is to, first of all, decide what type of life you want. Because a lot of people just, yeah, they're suffering, but really and truly, they don't really want the life they say they want, proper, for real. And they have to accept that it will come with a sacrifice. There's a sacrifice to be made in order to get yourself out of that situation. So the first thing I'll say to them is, first of all, what life do you want? And then what can I do? Now, what can I do? Even if it's uncomfortable, even if there's some serious level of discomfort, if you can physically do it and that's what it takes, do what it takes.
Okay. So it's really about understanding the life that you want and what you want to do. What's one money lesson that you learned the hard way that you wish someone had told you sooner?
What's one money lesson? I would say trying to time the market rather than time in the market. So they always say time in the market is better than timing the market. So literally, I tried to make a quick flip on a Netflix stock to raise the money for my wedding while saving for my wedding, which was a very bad idea. Luckily for me, I recovered and got the money back in time. But that was a big mistake in doing so. Whereas I should have been investing from, as early as possible, but incrementally and consistently to see gains, rather than trying to like time the market and predict that, oh, don't worry, Netflix will go up by X amount of % by tomorrow, and then lose money in doing so.
Okay. So it's all about, like you say, it's about timing the market, being patient, investing what you can. And I understand that as a fellow investor, I think it can be tough and there's a lot of like mental challenges that you have to kind of go through. So if you wanted to double your net worth in the next 12 months, what would you do? How would you double your net worth in the next 12 months? What would be some of the strategies that you would try to do?
I'd either try to help more people make money or help someone make a lot of money. So money is very simple. It literally hides in problems and in people. So I'll try to solve bigger problems or duplicate myself. So it's like, how many more people could I help make X amount of money? If I could help more people do that, then I'm definitely going to get paid more. And if I can help someone make a lot more money, I would get paid more.
Okay, so it's like doing a scalar version, like doing a wide version versus like the one person who's got a lot of money that you can kind of take a percentage of to make. Wow, that's very, 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 very ingenious. And what would you say is an overlooked way for people to build wealth in the UK that people are not really talking about here?
That people are not talking about. Okay, what's overlooked is investing, even though everybody's talking about it, because people just can't delay gratification enough. But the other thing is, I would say, is like finding businesses that are not sexy, problems that are not sexy or front of house. So focusing on infrastructure, like just doing the things people don't want to do, but believe it or not, they pay well, they're boring, but it works.
And for those that want to improve their finances today and they want to improve over the next 7 days, what would you say their first step needs to be?
First step is to know what comes in and what goes out. See what you can reduce. and then have a heavy focus on increasing what comes in, because there's only so much you can cut, but there's infinite opportunity to earn. So if it was me, I would be like, right, okay, what do I really need? Honestly, what do I use? That's gone. Right, this is what I do. Okay, is there a way that I could leverage the skill that I have outside of my 9 to 5? Even if it's what you do for work. So let's say you're a HR person. You have knowledge about HR systems, things like that. Right, how do I become a freelancer to start with? How do I go to smaller businesses and be like, right, this is the skill I have. You need it because you don't have it. I will charge you a particular rate and then duplicate that, scale that. And then from there, you can either branch out into teaching other people how to become you, or scaling and helping more businesses. So it's up to the individual, but that is what I will do. Because like I say, whatever you do at work, you can do for yourself. Your company is literally outsourcing the work to you. So why can't you do the same thing?
Mhm. That's true. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aaron, man. So many great tips. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Okay, yeah.